Tonight on the Beaver News, we tell you all about the different cultures on campus. And are you looking to set sail? Also, see how the gymnastics team has been doing. All that and more tonight on the Beaver News.
Good evening and welcome to the Beaver News. I'm Anna Singer.
And I'm Kiana Hatch. We're glad you could join us. Did you ever think the day would come when filling up your gas tank didn't hurt your bank account so much? For the first time since 2009, gas prices are nearly as cheap as bottled water. Falling gas prices over the past 4 months now put the national average for a gallon of regular at $2.07 and can be found for even lower in Oregon and other states. In fact, according to USA Today, Idaho is the cheapest state to fill up with an average of $1.85. However, enjoy it while you can because prices could rise 30 to 60 cents a gallon heading into spring and summer.
Our school may feel small in the heart of Corvallis, but many international students from different countries are attending OSU. We sent Casey Goslin to the International Resource Center to find out more about different cultures around campus.
ISOSU held an event in the International Resource Center last Thursday discussing different cultural heritages.
So the main purpose of the event is to showcase, it's more of a lecture-based type kind of event to showcase different aspects from different cultures in different countries to all the OSU community members.
5 different presenters led the event by giving insight to their own cultural backgrounds.
We had a person from Norway, we had a person from Germany, Malaysia, I think it was Korea, and then the other one from Hong Kong. And all the audience and all the participants that came over were a mix. We got about half international students and like the other half were domestic students.
For today's cultural heritage event, the topic was monuments.
Throughout history, there's a lot of buildings, a lot of monuments that has stories behind them, has an event that happened there. It shows there's significant value to it.
Other than architecture, ISOSU provides a variety of topics at different events.
We're talking about like myth and legends of from different countries. But in the past we had different topics such as food, traditional costumes, marriages. So along those lines of topics that we usually have for cultural heritage.
For more information on getting involved with ISOSU, feel free to check out their Facebook page about upcoming events, or come see them in the MU.
We have like games, we got friendly staff, we got a lot of things you can hang around in the space. ISOSU we will be having like a big event coming up on the 21st of February. Is a winter showcase, and the performers would be mostly student performers. But for now, we're actually on hold for our programs in this space. So this cultural heritage was the last. It was the last event that's going to be in this space in the MU, and we're going to be moving to the new building in middle of this month.
This has been Casey Goslin with Beaver News.
Coming up, we tell you all about the Oregon State Sailing Club. Also, where did Greek life students go to learn about more involvement in the community? Find out when we return.
Student media at OSU provides our students with an opportunity to learn all sorts of forms of media, ways to tell their stories, ways to develop as professionals.
We tell the stories of the exceptional students and staff who attend the university.
Student media offers an opportunity for students to work with professional staff as well who have been trained in the field.
Its purpose is to communicate to the entire university and the surrounding community.
One medium will focus on news, and another medium will focus on the art side of things, and another medium focuses on human interest stories.
The Beaver's Digest is responsible for relaying the student experience to people who are interested in joining clubs or groups or organizations or learning about their fellow students.
KBVR FM is a national award-winning college radio station in which students can have their own radio shows.
My medium focuses on what the students are doing. So the products that are coming out, what an engineer is making with his hands, what an artist is sculpting.
KBVR TV, we run a lot of shows on the channel. That's most of what we do. We have people come in interested in producing shows.
So essentially what we do at the Daily Barometer is an emphasis on the daily. We put out a daily, 5 days a week newspaper.
The business side of the Daily Barometer is responsible for acquiring funds to produce the Barometer.
Whether your passion is music, sports, talk, politics,
We have the news, Beaver sports show, a video game show.
anything that you can dream of, you can probably do a show about it. And
We make around $270,000 worth of sales and advertising every year.
We also do sort of, campus outreach and try to get organizations involved with us, making sure that if you have a story that needs to be told on our station or our YouTube channel, that we can go ahead and do that for you and get your story out there for you.
My personal growth, oh gosh, so much.
I've grown leaps and bounds as a content creator since joining student media.
KBVR FM has provided me with the opportunity to be a part of music productions, sports productions.
I started here as a producer of a show by the name of Glimpses. It was a short film show.
I learned how to produce quality video, edit audio, write a whole lot better, and work as a professional with other media content creators.
And it just took, basic camera operating knowledge and turned it into something that's applicable for life.
Anytime you want to do something or get something done, I can harken back on those skills that I've developed here. And it's really taught me that I can do anything.
To get involved in student media, just show up.
Just come to Snell Hall.
Just come to Snell because all of us are totally available.
Just come see us. All the student leaders, all the students that are involved, we're so willing to talk to anybody that is interested in becoming involved with student media.
Drop on in, first floor, second floor, we're all here and really looking for folks to get involved.
We're also interconnected that we can hook you up with whoever you want to be involved with.
You don't even have to know exactly what you want to do. We can give you a tour around our facilities.
There are tons of helpful people here who are willing to help you follow your dreams.
So if you're on the fence thinking, I don't know if I can do this, the answer is yes, you can.
It is all about just taking that first step and saying that you want to be here because we want you to be here too.
For contact information, you can visit mu.oregonstate.edu/student-media.
Welcome back to the Beaver News. Has sailing the open water ever piqued your interest? If so, you have the opportunity with Oregon State Sailing Club. Practice is held twice a week at the Eugene Yacht Club, where the crew welcomes students to learn the ropes. We sent reporter Camelin Bovinette to get the scoop.
The Oregon State sailing team competes in over 14 regattas a year, traveling anywhere from San Francisco to Florida and even Canada.
So a regatta is a race for boats. All the different schools will get together and we have a specific course set and we race.
This is one of our 5 FJ sailboats. That is a Flying Junior. It is the designated national college boat. It's quite large and we'll sail these boats in anything from no wind to 30 to 35 knots of wind, which that can be nearly 40 miles per hour. The crew will be, most of the race, be in this position towards the front of the boat, operating many of the control lines that will make the sails more powerful or less. They control a lot of the tactical decisions that go on in the boat, because the skipper ends up being so focused on just steering properly.
So the skipper would sit right here and control the boat back and forth while pulling on the main sheet, which will let in the large sail in and out.
While some might fear being out on the water, the sailing team noted that injuries rarely occur beyond a few bumps and bruises.
So what could go wrong on the boat? In general, these boats are simple and safe. Of course, the wind changes, you'll get a big puff of breeze. And really, the worst thing that could ever happen is you're going to end up getting wet. The boat can tip over and capsize. You get wet.
The sailing team practices twice a week and welcomes newcomers at any time. Students are free to attend a sailing practice and get hands-on experience raising sails, learning wind patterns, and pulling the ropes. Visit their Facebook page, Oregon State Sailing, to learn about upcoming events.
We meet at 3 p.m. at the east side of the indoor tennis courts, and you just show up. No experience necessary. We have extra life jackets, but then they can get sailed around, get the idea what's going on, and we teach them pretty much everything right there in the boat. I personally think that's the easiest way to learn, is hands-on.
So I sailed throughout basically my whole life. For me, it's the adrenaline rush on a really windy day, and you're just going out there as fast as you can and water splashing your face. I just get lost in it.
This has been Cameron Bovinette with the Beaver News.
This past weekend, Oregon State's Panhellenic and Interfraternal Councils went to a conference in Indianapolis and learned quite a bit about Greek life involvement in the community. We sent Bonnie Nutting to get the story.
Panhellenic and IFC are two councils that play a major role in the Greek community, and as members from both Panhellenic and IFC just got back from a fraternal leadership conference this past weekend, I wanted to take a closer look to see what exactly being on these councils entailed.
Panhellenic, actually the proper term is the National Panhellenic Conference, and it is an umbrella organization for 26 sororities nationwide, 11 of which we have at Oregon State.
IFC, or the Interfraternity Council, is the governing body of all the fraternity organizations on this campus, specifically within our council. It's a national organization which a number of national fraternity chapters are required to be affiliated with. So generally, we put on programming for the chapters, handle standards and judicial processes.
We like to think of it as we're the resource for all fraternities to go to when they need help with general operations or just as a contact for the university.
As members from IFC and Panhellenic went to an AFLV conference in Indianapolis this weekend, they came back with many valuable takeaways, made connections, and learned how to improve the Greek system.
The conference was really a training for members of councils like ours, Panhellenic, or specific chapter members from all different kinds of Greek communities, both like ours and then cultural Greek communities.
A lot of the keynote speakers talked about how we can really focus and hone in on improving the reputation Greek life receives, and in general creating a better, more inclusive Greek life here at Oregon State.
There's a pretty bad stigma attached to Greek life in a lot of places, and we're hoping to just turn that around and take a more values-based approach in recruitment and just the overall image of Greek life.
I know I personally didn't realize how widespread the Greek community was until this conference, and I think that it's really important that we recognize all the other organizations and work together to create a positive experience for all of us.
IFC and Panhellenic isn't limited to just the Greek community. They have many programs that allow for Greek and non-Greek life members to come together.
We work with Panhellenic and UGC, the rest of the Greek community, and then we also try to put on our educational programs and some philanthropies and service events that anybody can be a part of.
We learned at the conference that there are a lot more ways for us to be inclusive of people that aren't in the Greek community and looking at getting the whole community together. And so we're looking at different ways that we can implement that this year.
If you wish to get involved with Panhellenic or IFC, there are many ways in which you can do that.
We have council meetings every other week, the odd weeks of the term. And even though the presidents and Panhellenic delegates for each chapter are required to go, we encourage anyone from your chapter to come and see what Panhellenic does and see what's going on in our community. So I would definitely start there.
Come to our meetings. They're actually open to everybody. On even weeks, they're going to be Wednesday nights. You can just come to any meeting. They're all open. That's a great way to get involved in the IFC and to make a difference in your Greek community.
This has been Bonnie Nutting with the Beaver News.
Are we smiling?
When we come back, find out how students deal with the stress of midterms. Also, see how Oregon State gymnastics team is doing. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name's TXT.
Eddie Cardenas, Jason Love,
Alex Vickery-Holland,
Laura Gordon,
Lisa Rosenthal.
We're here to answer any questions, escort students around.
We really just give them this sense of tradition. We help them register for classes.
A big part of being a START leader is showing students around OSU and helping them get a feel for what it's like when they're here at Oregon State.
We serve to help them make a more smooth and positive transition from high school life to college life and to everything involved with it.
Week 5 is coming to an end, and midterms are in full swing. We sent Rebecca Puppo to the quad to see how students are preparing for midterms and dealing with the stress that comes with them.
February is Academic Excellence Month. It's week 5, and we're asking students how they're preparing for the midterms ahead. What are your tips for preparing for midterms?
Find the best place to study. I don't like the library because I like to be able to move around more.
Where do you like to study?
In my room. But it gets hard because I have 2 roommates.
I don't really have any. I kind of just see how it goes.
Just roll with it?
Yes.
Start early and not the night before because you remember things better that way.
To actually study, I think. That's the biggest one. Don't tell yourself you're going to study if you know you're not going to do it. Schedule time. Plan in advance, I guess.
Some tips for preparing for midterms. I like to go to Dixon because it relieves stress. I always stock up on healthy food and stuff. I always like to start early, so I'm not getting ready the day before my midterm, even though I tell myself that. It doesn't always happen.
I would say set aside a ton of time to spend in the library. Try to limit all distractions. That includes, for me, since I stay in the dorms, I find it easier to actually go to the library and study somewhere else, because if I'm in my dorm, there's a lot of distractions.
Too many distractions.
Yeah.
Don't start 2 days before. Honestly, look at the syllabus, find out the actual dates, and plan to start studying a week ahead, because it'll be the greatest feeling in the world when all of your friends are like, oh my goodness, midterms, and you're just sitting there playing video games because you already studied.
How do you mentally prepare for midterms?
Coffee.
Coffee, lots of coffee?
Yeah, coffee and sleep. Sleep 12 hours a day before midterms.
Yeah.
Hibernate.
Lots of coffee.
Usually when I'm walking to the midterm, I kind of give myself a little pep talk in my mind telling me I can do it.
Yeah.
And, even if I don't do well, my mom's still going to love me in the morning.
I love making lists, so I always prioritize lists. List what needs to be done first and then last. So that kind of, even though that doesn't relieve my stress, but that helps me prioritize my stress and my responsibilities. And then I like to play basketball, so I kind of shoot around. Even if I have a midterm the next day, I take an hour or so, shoot some hoops and stuff.
Make sure you're still social, not too social.
Do you prefer tests in class or writing a paper?
Probably writing a paper, just because it's really easy to access the writing center, peer reviews, or even going to the prof and asking questions. But tests in class can be nice too. They're normally quicker.
I think writing a paper, because it's harder for them to grade it, so I feel like you have a higher chance of getting a better grade.
Definitely in-class tests. Papers are not my thing.
Why is that?
Because I'm a horrible writer, and I'm also an engineer, so.
Probably writing a paper, just because I could do it on my own time.
Do you have any test rituals?
Yeah, I usually blast music in my room right before I take a test. Gets me pumped up. Some Chief Keef or something.
It's kind of funny, but if I'm going to a test, and when I'm leaving my room, my house, I always drink a cup of milk. Just always before I go to an exam. Warm milk.
I don't know, I'll coffee up an hour beforehand. Make sure there were no activities the night previously that would make the test go poorly.
With a lot of coffee and planning ahead, students say that these are the best tips for preparing for midterms. This has been Rebecca Puppo for Beaver News.
OSU gymnastics returned to Guilford this weekend for the first time since their exhibition meet as they face Washington, Sacramento State, and Hamline University. OSU started off on the vault, where 3 of the girls posted career-high marks. Gardner stuck her vault that gave her a score of 9.90, and sophomores Taylor Ritchie and Megan Jimenez both posted a score of 9.875, which were personal records for each of them. Taylor Keeker also scored a 9.85 that helped the team score 49.275 on the vault. Beavers kept up the strong performance on the bars with some high scores from Chelsea Tang and Katiana McMillan. Tang scored a 9.875 that was followed up by a score of 9.90 by Katiana McMillan, which was a career best for her. Erica Offiero topped all scores on the event, though tying her career best with a score of 9.925. Oregon State tallied up with a score of 49.225 on the event. Oregon State continued to do well in the balance beam by reaching 49-plus points for the third straight time. Chelsea Tang, of course, excels on the beam with her notorious splits move, earning her a score of 9.9. Following right behind her is Madeline Gardner, posting up a 9.8. OSU held the lead going into the final rotation, the floor exercise. After a couple of falls by Kaylee Ponto and Nicole Turner, the Beavs were on the brink, but Cerise Witherby was there to correct with a season-best score of 9.825. Tang followed up with an impressive floor routine, landing her a season-high score of 9.85. Gardner finished for the Beavs, but after suffering a week of illness, she wasn't able to get the scores that she was hoping for. OSU finished second after Washington and returned to Gill this Saturday for the annual Dam Cancer Meet. Women's basketball dominated again at home this week as well, as they swept the UCLA Bruins with a final score of 82-64. The team is headed to Seattle this week as they take on Washington.
Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. I'm Kiana Hatch.
And I'm Anna Singer. For more of your Beaver news, make sure to watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Thanks and have a good night.